All right, and we're live. Um, I am here with Undertow, or not Undertow. Force of habit there. We'll get to that in a second. For some of you. And I also forgot. I'm here with Artistic Layman, but I can't even talk today. I'm here with Artistic Layman, Argent, and in about a minute here, we'll be joined by British James because I forgot to send him a link. I knew there was somebody else I was forgetting. I'm a bit of a mess today. I'm kind of tired. But first, before we get into anything else, a little bit of house cleaning, a little bit of announcement. I've made this announcement a couple of times on here, but I know a lot of you that listen to this do not necessarily listen to the weekday stuff. As evidenced by the view counts, I got twice as many people on average listening to this. So going forward, Undertow is no longer a part of the show. Now, if you listened to last week, you know he had a little bit of a temper tantrum. The guy's just burned out. He really is. He's burned out on politics. He's burned out on arguing with people on the interwebs, and I don't blame him. And just to be clear, I'm not firing Undertow. I'm not throwing Undertow off the show. That's not what it was. He's certainly welcome to call in here anytime. If he feels up for it, he's welcome to hop back in here anytime. But after church last Sunday, I messaged him, and I was going to suggest that he take a break. And before I even said that, he said to me, he's like, I think I'm done with this for the foreseeable future. You know, I'm burned out on it. I just don't want to do it anymore. So, you know, he was a great addition to the show. He will be missed.
Press F to pay respects.
Yeah, press F to pay respects. Yeah. So that's it's a little bit of housekeeping. British James, you there?
Indeed. And thanks for having me on.
Oh yeah, sure. Sorry, I forgot to send. I knew there was somebody I was forgetting to send an invite to. I am really, really damn tired today. I got about 3 hours sleep last night, and the reason being is I was at East Coast Comic Con in Jersey with a buddy of mine. I actually got these tickets back in like February, and it's about a 3 hour drive from me, and you know I wanted to get there reasonably early, so I had to get up pretty early. And because I'm a jobless bum, a NEET right now, I haven't been getting up very early because I don't tend to get up early unless I'm being paid to. That's just me. I'm a night owl. I work second shift most of my life. It's only the last few years I've been working first. So I couldn't really get to sleep at a decent time last night. You know, when you're like trying to get to sleep and then you realize it's really late and you get like upset over the fact that you're not going to get any sleep. So you're just winding yourself up more. And you're just even making it worse. So yeah, I got about 3 hours sleep. You know, I drove a round trip of about 6 hours today. And then walking around the con and stuff. So I'm tired. It was a good con though. Pardon me. Ernie Hudson was there, the black guy from Ghostbusters. So I had him sign my copy of the Tobin Spirit Guide. That was pretty cool. Peter David was there. I had him sign a trade paperback. The one guy I wanted to get a signature from that wasn't there was George Perez. I didn't, like last night I was sitting there like, what do I even want George Perez to sign? Like I got so many, like I got like 3 really good trades I could have had him sign, but I brought the JLA Avengers trade. And of course he was a no-show. But other than that, it was a really good show. And I enjoyed it. And it was a buddy of mine that I don't get to hang out with that often. So it was a lot of fun. Luke, I don't know if you could throw this up, but they had a bunch of cars there. Like they had the Monkey Mobile from the old Monkey show. But they had the Michael Keaton Batmobile right there. Fucking A, man.
Oh, that's awesome.
You get half a chub looking at that thing. And they also had the Adam West Batman mobile there, which is pretty cool. But I mean, it doesn't quite strike the same chord with me as the other one. But yeah, it was a sweet show. I enjoyed it a lot. Oh man, that Keaton Batman mobile is so fucking sick. But yeah, good show. Good fun day, but damn, I'm fucking tired. So the news this week. First, let's start with a couple of feel-good stories, right? First, and I don't have the article for this, but apparently some ISIS members were killed by some wild boars, which is just delightful. There's not even words for that. That is just fantastic.
There is a God, and he has a sense of humor.
He sure does. I mean, we need to weaponize these boars. And somebody online dubbed them Squeal Team 6.
That's amazing.
Apologetics, Acts 15 Apologetics. He went on a beautiful little tirade about every single other line being a pig joke, about calling it Swine 11.
Swine 11.
Oh, good Lord.
Bechtloff, just so you know, you sound like a robot.
Of course I do. I could already see the fucking internet breaking up.
I was blaming that on my internet because it's just pouring rain in Chicago.
Hang on 1 second.
I look outside and all I see is water.
Oh, I gotta find that video now with all the pig references.
Wow. We need to send some of those boars to France.
Yeah, I tried to open an article, so I'm sure that's why. I think I figured out why this keeps happening to my iPhones. It's because I'm stuck using Wi-Fi, so I need to get myself because of course the computer doesn't have an Ethernet port. Because why would you need an Ethernet port? I got to get an Ethernet to a USB converter. I've looked at a few local places. They didn't have it, so I had to order it online. So it's not there yet, but hopefully that'll solve the problem.
Yeah, the same thing happened with my internet connection too. I'm actually now connected directly to my router after years of using Wi-Fi.
I hate Wi-Fi. I hate it. It's just not as reliable. It just never is. The other article, the feel-good story, and I don't know how the hell I missed that. Somebody brought this to my attention today. Luke, I threw it in the chat. I don't know if you saw it. But apparently in Australia, there was this huge fucking rally of gingers. So that's just delightful. I don't know how I missed that.
The Valley of Gingers? What is this?
A rally of, like this huge, like, ginger rally or something. Like redhead rally. I threw it in the chat.
What is this? What is this?
And I tried to bring that up, which is when my internet started shitting in bed, because Lord knows if you don't have an ad blocker, fucking half the news sites will crash your browser.
Yeah, because the thing is, like, I kind of am against ad blockers. My issue though is like the ones that auto redirect you or the ones that just pop up and disable the page.
What is this?
There we go.
What is what?
She has Fanta in her hair.
Because as we all know, gingers are the master race.
Just remember, as the English, we did send the best to Australia, definitely.
Why do English have that thing with gingers?
Because the Irish, because the eternal tonic is our gingers.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's just a nicer way of saying I don't like Irish people.
Yeah,
Pretty much.
I don't like the eternal tide, so.
Well, I thought the nice way was using depleted uranium on Belfast, but who knows?
Yeah, there's that too.
So yeah, the lighter stories. Again, please somebody let me know if I start sounding like a robot again, because my internet is the Wi-Fi is especially weak tonight. All right, so other stories I wanted to cover this tonight. This was especially funny. I saw this actually on Luke. You were on Pastor Tom's channel earlier this week.
Yes.
And by the way, somebody asked me in the comments on an earlier video what Pastor Tom's channel is. I forgot to put a link there because I saw the comment while I was out on my phone. If you search Reformed Thomas, you'll find it. I think the show you guys do is the Sanctification Hour, right?
Yep.
Okay, so search for those, you'll find them. If I remember, I'll put a link in the description. But let's be real, I probably will not remember. So anyways, you guys were talking about this Cult of Dusty video. And for those of you that are not familiar with Cult of Dusty, first of all, that's a good thing. You should be proud of yourself. But second of all, the best way to describe him is like a fedora redneck. I mean, that's the best way I can describe him.
Oh yeah, this asshole, right? He was part of the that video Atheism Was Unstoppable did.
Well,
I know Fritz Imperial was just making fun of him and just calling him like a retarded redneck.
Oh yeah. Well, as someone who is an atheist, he is someone so obnoxious. Atheist cult fucking hated him.
I bet
he's that annoying. There is no likability to him.
So this was his argument. This was his brilliant argument. He said that he has disproven the story of Exodus using Google Maps, using Google Earth. Well, by all means, Dusty, please enlighten us with how you have used this cutting-edge technology to peer the mysteries of history for us. Well, he said, if you clearly look using Google Earth, it obviously would not have taken 40 years to cross this patch of desert.
But I don't get it. They were banned from entering the Promised Land because of their idolatry.
Yeah, they weren't. It's not like
they were like there.
The story acknowledges that it doesn't take 40 years. Like,
I think they were almost there, and then they started
I think his familiarity with the story of Exodus is that one episode of Family Guy that did it. I think that's where he got the fucking story.
You can almost slice through the autism like a knife through butter. Just leave him.
Well, it's
it's a unique flavor of autism to have redneck autism. It really is.
Well, it offends me when like these people can't be bothered to do like a basic Google search or read the Wikipedia article. Like they can't even do that.
I mean, in my most God-hating agnostic days, I would have looked at that video and said, "You're a fucking retard."
No, it's like the worst argument I think I've ever heard was in Zeitgeist, where they said instead of Son of God SON, it's Son of God SUN.
Yeah.
And then, like, not in English, it's in like completely different language. So like the ancient Egyptians spoke English.
Yeah, it's so and it's weird because I'm watching that video with you and Pastor Tom, and you start playing and as soon as like as soon as Dusty introduces this topic, I'm immediately in the chat like, no, he's not going to actually make this fucking argument, is he? Like he's not going where I think he's going, is he? He can't be that fucking stupid.
No, he is.
I mean, he dressed himself conceivably. He can't be that fucking stupid.
So is he the next Christian then, like for Southern autists?
Unfortunately, he has too much wits about him. He's too much of a redneck to actually be like an over the top psycho nerd.
Well, no, that's kind of good because then you can actually make fun of him. Like you can, like I don't have a problem like making fun of DSP. I actually do kind of have a problem making fun of Christian because he's like actually a crazy person who should be in he should be.
Yeah, I think your example is that, I hate to interrupt, is perfect. He is DSP of atheism. He's not someone you wouldn't sort of not take the piss out of because he is retarded, literally. He is just a cunt. That's why you want to annoy him.
No, I agree. Like Christian is like a crazy person who should be in like a mental hospital.
These damn bugged atheist mechanics. These bugged fedora mechanics. That's why he doesn't wear a fedora. The fedora mechanics were too bugged.
He is the reason why I don't come out openly and argue this stuff with a lot of people online. It's the Cult of Dusty type of people, the sort of Captain Autismo, I can't take this book seriously, I've got to take it in the most literal way when it's obviously not meant to be taken literally in certain ways.
If it's not even that, he doesn't even, well, he does acknowledge it in the comment section, but when he did his whole video, he decided to not mention, oh, by the way, the Bible says this.
Well, he acknowledged it in the comment section because I'm sure somebody called him out. And then he's like, haha, you Christians had to defend this by saying it was a curse, and haha, I totally got you. It's like, no, you didn't. You dumb shit. Quit trying to cover your tracks.
It says it there, like they were literally like 5 minutes away from the promised land. Then they started worshiping the golden calf or whatever, and God's like, "Fuck you! You can't go in until you stop, until you clean up your act."
Until the entire generation has died off for 40 years.
Yeah.
So this Cult Dusty guy just basically took the spaghetti monster joke, applied it to himself, and made a living doing that.
Yeah,
pretty much.
I remember when I was anti-religious, I still thought the spaghetti monster was retarded.
That argument is retarded.
It's I'm probably going to butcher the English language irony, but it's superfluous to the whole point of it. It's similar with obviously the whole is it the flying teapot in space? It's the equivalent argument. No one should literally take it seriously. That's the whole point. It's similar with Schrodinger's cat. When people think Schrodinger's cat is meant to back up quantum mechanics, it's not meant to back it up. It's somewhat tongue-in-cheek when you state it, and that's what a lot of atheists don't get when they say the flying spaghetti monster.
You know what it is? It's the Chewbacca defense.
What is the Chewbacca defense?
It's something they had on South Park. It was a parody of the O.J. Simpson trial. It's
yes.
Chewbacca lives on the planet Endor. This does not make any sense. Therefore, you must acquit.
Yeah. Chewbacca lives on Endor with all the Wookiees. That doesn't make any sense. Now, ladies and gentlemen, why am I in a trial talking about Chewbacca? Because it does not make any sense.
They acquit him.
And then he just pulls out like a stuffed animal, a monkey. He's like, look at the monkey. Look at the silly monkey.
Or like if anyone's seen it in Boondocks, the trial of R. Kelly.
Oh yes. yes.
It's like R. Kelly, yes, the singer R. Kelly. My social security number is.
The other fun little bit of news this week. Well, okay, so there was the Berkeley riots. I don't want to spend a lot of time talking about those because I don't give a fuck. Like I can't bring myself to care what's like. Here's how the Berkeley situation should be handled. I hope Trump lobs a fucking missile at Berkeley. It just says North Korea did it. That's what I hope happens. All right.
I don't know which Berkeley riot you're talking about. Berkeley riots are like ISIS attacks or
it's like
attacks in France. Which one?
Oh yeah. Which Berkeley is the question of the hour? Because I can't remember any time period. It's like a constant.
Oh, did you guys hear about the guy that Paul doxed?
Which guy?
Okay, there's some I forget if he was I think a university professor who taught ethics, and he goes to these riots and beats people up with a bike lock. He hits people in the head with a bike lock.
Damn.
And they were able to dox him, and hopefully he's going to get fired. But he taught ethics, and he goes and beats up conservatives with bike locks at riots.
It's about ethics and bike lock games.
The alt-right is about ethics and video game ethics and journalism. It's the funniest.
Really, he's a ethics professor?
I think so. It was something like that.
And he goes around beating the shit out of people who he disagrees with a bike lock.
Yeah, I think this is the third time he's done it. So this is California, so maybe he'll get a life sentence, which he should, because he's hitting them in the head with a fucking piece of metal. He could kill someone really easily.
After a moment when he's really drunk, where the irony of that leaks into his consciousness.
Conservapedia, as lame as it is, has a page called Professor Ethics, and it's just a list of professors committing bizarre crimes.
Professor.
Yeah, I highly doubt he has the self-awareness to do that. I mean, but the other thing I want to talk about is Josh Whedon. Good old Josh Whedon.
He's such a piece of shit.
He's such a nice man, that Josh Whedon. So Paul Ryan was meeting with, I don't know, some like teenage girls that were cancer survivors. I don't know exactly what he's doing. I don't really particularly watch Paul Ryan that much. But anyways, Josh Whedon retweeted that picture with a caption. Do I sound okay?
Yeah.
Okay. He retweeted that picture with a caption, like something like, I don't even remember exactly what it was, but it was something about like making fun of the girls' looks. They weren't a 10 or something like that.
Oh yeah. It was the
first of all, it wasn't funny.
Mm.
I want to emphasize that point right there. It wasn't funny, not because it was over the line, but just because it was not funny.
Like when DSP tries to
make
a joke like that.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. And but yeah, and also it's here's the high and mighty feminist who's gonna do this kind of shit. So I mean, he got hammered on for it, and he deleted the tweet and stuff. But now he's all like, I guess he said some passive aggressive fucking typical gamma male tweet where he's like, I guess I'll just be quiet for a while. People are picking on me. I don't know, Luke, if you can bring up his Twitter. I dare not right now because if I try to bring up my internet will shit the bed.
Yeah, you're gargling again.
Of course I am. They don't, my Wi-Fi is almost unusable tonight. I'm so fucking frustrated with it.
Let's see. Josh Sween's it with Twitter.
Okay, maybe who is Azalea?
Azalea Rose is my crush. What did she say this time?
Sorry, who are they? Like, no, I don't know who that is.
Oh, just live chat. But to add on to the Josh Whedon point, this is the same guy.
Okay.
If anyone knows, he does obviously the Marvel crap, the Avengers films. In the second film, he basically got spit roasted by the feminists for making a female character infertile, and she basically said because of her infertility, she's a monster. And he still doesn't get that he, just like everyone else in the feminist second wave, third wave feminist movement, is basically going to eat themselves alive with the inconsistencies they end up drawing.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if anybody's paying attention to the elections in France right now and the fallout going on around Marine Le Pen, who has a chance to be France's first female president, you would think they would be excited about this, especially since she wants to kick out people in the country who think of women as second-class citizens. But it's stacked.
The only case like that I would actually, the most misogynistic, and I use the term unironically, thing I've ever seen was against Sarah Palin.
Oh yeah.
I remember when I think it was David Letterman made a joke about like her 13-year-old daughter getting raped by A-Rod or something.
God.
So let's see
Yeah,
what we got.
and her daughters get slut-shamed all the time, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Luke, I'm going to try and restart my computer. Hold down the fort for me.
All right, so we're taking a look at
that. Won't that destroy the Hangout though?
Oh no, he's done before.
Oh, okay.
No, because he's technically backed out. It's just.
Let's see what's Josh Whedon written recently. Let's see.
It's going to destroy the platform we're all standing on.
Oh yeah.
Come back to it.
Joss Whedon is just such a
The cuck.
Oh, Serenity got canceled. It's the end of the world.
But my general rule with people is this: if they don't expend more effort insulting them than they would use to create stuff they like. Because
I'm still crying about Firefly getting canceled.
Josh Whedon might be a cum-guzzling bucket of shit, but it doesn't mean you should expend more effort trying to explain that what he is. And it's kind of funny with Marvel. Because I recently saw the latest Guardians of the Galaxy film. I know you guys, because you're all Americans, you won't get it for 2 weeks, so I can spoil it now and not feel bad. But
actually, no, don't spoil it.
I'm not going to spoil it. It's not worth spoiling. Don't worry. It's an alright film. But when it comes to these Disney and Marvel, honestly, it actually depends on who makes the stuff they are doing. to how they like. I don't know if you saw, was it the latest Disney film? Was it they remade Beauty and the Beast?
I refuse to watch that on principle.
Yeah, because it's the original. Regardless of whether people want to say it's bestiality, it's still a great original animated
it's
classic.
one of the greatest movies of all time.
It's top 5 when it comes to just Disney alone.
Okay, here's a good one. On April 23rd, stop saying if Obama, Hillary did this, people would freak out. We know they wouldn't. They were politicians and oppressed. They represented.
What was I thinking of again? I actually really liked the first Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm actually really looking forward to watching this movie, to be perfectly honest.
Speaking of people in Guardians of the Galaxy, did you hear the Chris Pratt thing this week?
Oh, what's he done?
He tweeted that Hollywood doesn't make enough movies about blue-collar people, like average people, and he feels like a lot of the stories don't speak to him and his experience. And of course, Marie Claire and Huffington Post and all of their Twitter followers went nuts because he's a white guy, so everything is about him.
Chris Pratt's actually like pretty religious.
Oh yeah, he's based. There's a video of him getting his kids to actually salute the flag and do the whole American I don't know what it's called, the American Burger Constitution thing, but basically being American, and people went crazy for this.
Yeah, Chris Pratt seems like one of the few people that's almost as cool as the people he plays.
He is based, to mention Guardian Galaxy, Kurt Russell, another based actor. Same with even James Woods. I like James Woods a lot. His Twitter is brilliant. If you don't follow him on Twitter, follow him.
Like Chris Pratt will not do sex scenes because he says it's adultery, which is pretty based.
Yeah, well, he got it torn a new asshole by everyone who thinks that even though he comes from a blue collar background, he is in every movie because he's a white guy. Just complete, like, when they're talking about the progressive stack, sometimes they'll talk about class, but they have no idea what they're talking about. They don't even, for example, one of the people who was tweeting about this wrote, when I hear blue collar, I hear dog whistles for white male. And I was like, have these people ever been on a bus or near a restaurant?
But Chris Pratt's only in movies because he's a white male. No, Chris Pratt's in movies because he's handsome and charming and a good actor.
And funny.
Well, he's a lot of, like, what I like about him is whenever he's in a movie, it feels like he's enjoying it, like he's having fun. And I find a lot of actors just phone everything in. Like Harrison Ford is the ultimate example of that. But like Chris Pratt always like feels like he's just having a lot of fun.
Yeah. His Twitter feed is like that too. Like all of his Twitter posts just come across as really genuine and happy and woo, I'm loving my life.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to Guardians of the Galaxy 2 coming up.
I love what's the name? Who's the guy who takes everything literally again?
Oh,
Drax.
Yeah, the big guy. Yeah.
Oh,
Drax.
His name?
Yeah, he's quite good in the film as well.
He's hilarious.
I will also say, if you don't say, Sylvester Stallone is actually going to make his first big appearance in the MCU, and I'm quite surprised by that.
Is he going to be in Guardians?
Yeah,
That's awesome.
Sylvester Stallone's going to hopefully make his first sci-fi appearance in films like Demolition Man, so I'm quite excited for it.
It's so weird that Guardians of the Galaxy became this huge hit for Marvel because, I mean, while there have been teams named the Guardians of the Galaxy, this particular team, because the original team was like a team of superheroes in the far future, this particular team did not come about until like 2006. That's how recently this came. Now, the characters themselves have all been around since the 70s or 80s, but as an actual team like this, Guardians of the Galaxy, it was like, I think it was this one event called Annihilation, like this cosmic level event that brought them together as a team. But I mean, such a recent thing in the comics, relatively speaking, that became one of the hugest parts of Marvel's movies.
You know what's funny? If anyone hasn't seen it, I'd recommend going in to watch it. Red Letter Media did a review of Guardians of the Galaxy, and they compared it to Boyhood. and they're talking about like how shitty Boyhood is, and they're saying like how Guardians of the Galaxy was just so much better. It was really funny.
Well, after I saw it, I tweeted, that in much the same way Galaxy Quest is a better Star Trek movie than most Star Trek movies. Guardians of the Galaxy is a better Star Wars movie than most Star Wars movies.
I still abide by the theory that if you talk about odds and evens for Star Trek films, if you include Galaxy Quest as a Star Trek film, it still works out.
Am I the only person who kind of liked Insurrection?
That's not the one with Tom
I
Hardy,
liked
is
it at first, but it doesn't stand up to multiple viewings to me.
I don't think it's as bad as people say.
No, it's not nearly as bad as everyone says.
Oh, yeah.
I don't really think any of the next gen movies are particularly all that good. I think
most of them are shit.
The only reason I really enjoyed them is because I watched Next Gen a lot, and the movies wrap up a lot of loose ends from the show. So I enjoyed them in that regard, but it's just actual standalone movies. They're not very good.
I like the Undiscovered. I like the Undiscovered Country just because of Christopher Plummer.
Yeah, that's a pretty good movie.
Yeah. That's the funny thing I've noticed, especially with the original series Star Trek films. When they go for a very simple, more character-based story, it's better. Same with the motion picture. Is basically, it's like 2001, but it's basically got no one overrating it. Then you watch Wrath of Khan, and it's very fucking good. There's no way you can.
The first Star Trek movie is one of the worst movies I've ever seen.
Oh, it's
so long because it's.
I was a huge Star Trek fan as a kid, and I think it was like I was well into my teenage years before I was able to fully make myself sit through a watching of it.
Yeah,
and Search for Spock is also god awful.
And then you watch the fourth.
I don't think Search for Spock's that bad. Search for Spock is the best of the odd numbers. In my opinion, I mean, it's better than 5. It's better than 1.
Awful.
I think the reason why I didn't like the idea of the third one is because when you have the second one's finale, and I mean, even my grandmother cried at the ending of the second Star Trek film. She's not a Trekkie, so
something that's really awesome in the second Star Trek film. It's this little touch, and I don't know if it was the director or Leonard Nimoy that did that. But at the end there, when Kirk comes down and he's banging on the window like Spock, and Spock's like curled up in the corner, fucking dying. Spock like stumbles to his feet, and there's this moment where like he forces himself to stand up straight, and he straightens his uniform. And like that's such a small touch, but it's such a perfect like character moment there.
Oh yeah.
Okay, I thought Into Darkness was pretty bad.
Oh yeah, it's not. No one disagrees with you.
I don't like any of the reboot stars.
I like the first
although
one.
I haven't seen the last one.
The first one is average, and the latest one they did. It's why I like it, because Simon Pegg wrote it, and he tried to make a bad guy who was quote unquote like Trump / Brexit, and then inevitably makes the most likable bad guy and the most sympathetic. It's why I like the film.
You know what bugs me the most about the reboot ones, and again, this is the first and second. I haven't seen the third, this is not the actors' fault. I think the actors all could do a fantastic job, but the way these characters are written, it feels like Star Trek in a Saturday Night Live skit or something. It feels like a parody of it, like somebody that's only like casually familiar with it. And the biggest example to me is Bones. Like, they write Bones as a grumpy old man, even though he's a young man. Like, and that's because he's most famous for being that way in the movies. But in the original show, he was a smart ass. And I mean, yeah, he was grumpy sometimes, but he was constantly smirking and playing jokes on Spock and shit like that. He was a grumpy old man in the movies because he was an old man. Yeah. And he was a doctor, so he's probably been elbow deep in death most of his life.
All the red shirts he couldn't save.
Yeah, all the red shirts he couldn't save, It's just weighing on him after a while. But so what's that actor's name? Kyle Urban. Great actor, don't get me wrong. I love the guy. I loved him in Dread. I loved him in that Almost Human show that didn't make it. But he's playing Bones, at least in those first two movies, as this grumpy old guy. And I'm sure that's what he was told. That's the script he was handed. That's the direction he was handed. But that's not how Bones was.
Yeah. As someone put it quite well, Star Trek, especially '09, as much as I like it, they feel more like caricatures of the actors as opposed to the characters themselves. And
Yes,
the
exactly.
third one fixes that. The third one, Bones feels, because they restored the original triangle of Bones, Spock, and McCoy. Bones feels more like the antithesis as opposed to just grumpy old man. That's why I like it a lot. That's why the third one succeeds. It's probably the only good one out of the
Kirk,
ones.
Spock, and Bones played this perfect trio because it's just that kind of ego and super ego thing going on with the three of them,
Who was the id? Kirk?
I want to say Kirk, yeah.
And Bones was the super ego? Well, he was always the one who was like...
I kind of get the ego and the super ego mixed up, if I'm being honest, all the time.
The super ego is... Oh, yeah. Right. He was kind of always the one who was like questioning them ethically.
Mm-hmm.
And he was always telling Spock off.
I think in the original Ghostbusters, that's why the original three Ghostbusters work so well, is they sort of encapsulate that dynamic too. Which is another reason Ghostbusters is such a great movie and didn't deserve what happened to it last year.
I mean, like the biggest insult isn't even that they made all women. It's just that it's like such a shitty movie.
Oh yeah,
if anyone's actually watched it. Like,
and you know what? And I've said this numerous times on here, and I'll reiterate it. If you would have had come at this from the angle of like the original Ghostbusters are retiring and these women are like picking, like they bought the rights to the franchise and the equipment and they're making a go at it, you could probably have a decent movie there, but I mean, maybe, if you also didn't have writers and directors that were purposely, making this movie out of spite.
And shitty actors.
I mean, that's the thing. Ghostbusters 2016 is a movie that was made out of spite. It was, hey, fuck all these like white male nerds that like this thing. We're gonna take a piss on it. Like, I don't like the Star Trek reboot, but it's not like J.J. Abrams was, walking into this like fuck Star Trek.
He did that with Star Wars.
Not make it suck.
He did that with Star Wars, though.
I really think that Paul Fagg, or whatever the hell his last name is, I really think he genuinely in his heart of hearts was like, fuck Ghostbusters.
That was the only reaction review that I actually did editing for and used clips from the movie for my review of Ghostbusters, because it was just so shitty I had to.
I will say, though, thankfully it did bring back Ecto Cooler, so every dark cloud has a silver lining.
Oh, yeah, and I don't know, in England we had the Twinkies green slime version.
Oh, wow. I don't think we had that over here.
No. Ghostbusters.
I mean, literally, Ghostbusters 2016 ends with them shooting the logo in the dick.
Mm-hmm.
And they had to bring in the most masculine guy possible and just ridicule him.
Oh, it was, and I had people defend that film because they like the people I was speaking to. They like the Melissa McCarthy dumb shit films like Bridesmaids.
I think Melissa McCarthy is cancer on top of cancer.
Oh yeah, it's a dog shit Sunday with. I can't describe how much I dislike these films. When I went to America, the film which I watched back was Ghostbusters. I like Ghost. I don't see why people, even the second one, I think people shit on the second one. I don't know why. I still think the second one.
The only thing the second one is really guilty of is not being quite as good as the first.
Yeah, he had it.
Which, can you really blame it?
I'll be honest, I
think the first one is almost a perfect movie.
It's got no flaws. The second one, I have to admit, I actually was more scared, especially with the floating head scene as a child when I'm 10 in the underground. And I'm being honest, I had people say, oh, but I like that sort of humor. And I'm like, yeah, you like the Melissa McCarthy humor. What's your allergies
Melissa
again?
McCarthy ruins everything she touches.
Oh, yeah.
She's the worst thing to happen to Hollywood.
Anyone that thinks that the second Ghostbusters isn't good, I'm like, why don't you go back and rewatch the whole courtroom sequence from beginning to end and then come back to me and see if maybe you've changed your mind? Because that alone is worth the price of admission.
Wait, I have a correction. The Ghostbusters 2016 did have a good thing. It was all the Patton Oswalt dead wife jokes. I stand corrected. It's just funny with Patton Oswalt because I've been watching. I recently watched The Secret Life of Walter Mitty, and I realized he's the guy who's meant to be getting Ben Stiller's character laid. And I'm just thinking, yeah, that's the most fictitious thing in this story about a guy who daydreams all day.
I love that meme, and it gets passed around where it's like, showing Ernie Hudson's character, which again, Ernie Hudson's character in the original Ghostbusters is a prime example of how good that movie is. Because on paper, Ernie Hudson's character is the token black guy. And yet he does so much for the story. He is a quintessential everyman for the other characters to bounce off of. He establishes that the business has grown and that they have gotten this technology to a point where anyone can operate it easily. Like, there's like that scene where Ray is going through like the mundane things of how to like load the, like, he's putting the trap in the containment unit. He's like, light is green, trap is clean. Got a cigarette hanging in his mouth the whole time. It's so perfect. It's so working man. You know what I mean? And so there's that meme where it's like Ernie Hudson's character, and it's like, black character in Ghostbusters, 1985, I guess it was. It's like, capable everyman who becomes an integral part of the team. Black character in Ghostbusters 2016, obnoxious, obese hood rat who screams about the devil and Jesus.
Oh yeah, she literally BT 1000 unit. It's like,
yeah.
I was trying to explain this to someone and they just didn't get it. It's like, so you make a caricature of a black person, you think that's acceptable?
I think the best black character, or one of the best, is Lando.
Lando. I
Lando
was thinking that.
Like, he was a very like black like character, like just in terms of his personality and stuff. But they did it good. Like, they did like kind of a dandy Mississippi gambler thing going.
Yeah, it wasn't like shit. We were Jedi's and shit.
But yeah, see, that's the thing. I mean. And look, it's something that cucks hide behind, so I realize why a lot of us on the right now wince about this when you say, like, liberals are the real racists, but they kind of are. Yeah. Like, I'm sorry, like, your average white liberal, like, thinks way less of black people than your average white nationalist. Your average traditionalist, or your average male feminist thinks way less of women than your average traditionalist. Josh Whedon thinks way less of women than Roosh.
The ability to create life is demeaning.
Yeah, and see, that's the thing. Like, liberals are more hateful inherently. They just are. I mean, not just racist, sexist, whatever. I mean, they just hate. They just hate. They just hate everything deep down inside. They're just full of fucking pure, unfiltered, undirectional hate.
They have to have an excuse for something. Same with Anne was mentioning with Marie Le Pen. Okay, so you've got, I'm not sure if it is France's first, I think you did say France's first PM, but you're talking about French electing another female, and we're talking about the same sort of people who would have supported Hillary Clinton for being, quote unquote, the first female US president. And mind you, these are also the same people who'd shit on Margaret Thatcher because she was a conservative. So this isn't, you're basically arguing with your high school bully at this point.
Remember how in Britain when Margaret Thatcher died, Ding Dong the Witch's Dead became like...
Yeah, it's like...
that's such a liberal thing. I can't see conservatives doing that.
Yeah, they are contradictory. It's not about... They basically, it's like layered arguments. Okay, so let's say you're a white male, you're basically pure evil to them. So it turns out you're a homosexual. Let's say you're Milo Yiannopoulos. Oh, but you still hate Muslims. Okay, let's say you're Ayaan Hirsi Ali, the Muslim woman who was basically fucking who had basically female genital mutilation. Oh, but you're still racist to Muslims, even though you're basically was their kin. They will find another layer to it. It's a never-ending story.
Yeah, I mean, these are people who would say to Christians, "How dare you mistreat the homosexual so much by refusing to bake him a dildo cake and throw him a parade?" Meanwhile, Muslims are throwing gays off roofs and they're like, "Oh, that's okay."
Well, you know what the punishment for homosexuality is in Afghanistan? They like bury you up to the waist, then they build a wall, and then they knock the wall over on you.
I actually had someone seriously try to argue with me that the French are just as sexist as Muslims because they don't want to have women be Catholic priests.
Well, women can drive in France.
Women are allowed to keep their clits in France.
I remember that was actually one of the things that turned me off the left. Was I got like so much shit at university for talking about female genital mutilation. And I was talking about it from like a left-wing perspective. Because I'm like, I'm a feminist, so I'm against female genital mutilation. And yeah.
Little did you know, that's way down in the progressive stack.
Yeah, like I'm hardly a big proponent of gay rights, but unlike most liberals, I have this silly notion that maybe they have the right to not get shot by some motherfucker while they're out having a drink. I know it's crazy. It's really radical.
I'm thrown off of buildings.
Yeah, they have the right to not be thrown off a building. I know. I'm somewhere common Phil saying.
You know what's funny? You know what's one of
like Bechtloff's gone soft.
That's one of the policies of the far right in Sweden, establishing a pedophile database. That's like controversial, and it's hate.
Wow.
Yeah.
Guys, I
found end up with this bizarre like a narco tyranny on like sex offender rules here. I mean, we live in a country right now where some poor 19-year-old kid can have his life ruined because he got caught with his 17-year-old girlfriend, and yet Todd Nickerson is on fucking Salon promoting pedophilia. Like we are truly it's truly at like a narco tyranny.
Yeah, I think this picture I found encapsulates everything about our political discourse. It's Calando surrounded by a bunch of liberals.
Oh, okay. I thought you were bringing up another picture. Well, fortunately, none of them are going to be able to hit him, even at that rate. That's about the rate. They're going to kill each other. Lando will be sorry. Oh, what else did I have? I don't know. Anybody want to talk about Bill Nye?
Oh, God.
Again?
Bill Nye, the Weimar guy?
You know what's funny? I was thinking about it and I realized I have more like formal education than he does.
Dolph Lundgren has, apparently, and he's got a higher IQ. Let's not forget
Dolph
that.
Lundgren speaks like 6 languages. I remember someone asked him one time, like, why, if he's so smart, he's like, I make more money pretending to be stupid in movies than I'd make in 100 years as a like professional scientist.
Yeah, it's perfect. In all fairness, they're not really scientists, him and Bill Nye, they're engineers, which is technically better. But don't tell anyone that.
Yeah, but he's an engineer who's never built anything.
Oh, there's this amazing picture I found where it's a clip from Bill Nye the Science Guy, the TV show, and it's like chromosomes determine what gender you are.
I actually heard supposedly
gender is on the
Oh, that's not the picture, is it? With him with the chromosomes.
Supposedly that's actually like a fake.
Yeah, it's supposed to be BS. Yeah,
but there is another one where he talks about X, Y, and Y chromosomes determining genders. I think it's like there's a clip where he's got like refrigerator magnets of X, Y, and XX and shit like that. So he did take that position, even though that quote on that exact scene isn't accurate. Yes, he was teaching in that show the crazy theory that having a Y chromosome is what makes you male. No, it's crazy. You know,
it's hate.
You get burned as a witch for saying that.
Hate.
Well, has anyone actually watched the full show? Because I've only spoke to people who had clips, and I know this is a Netflix thing. Have they released a whole season of stuff we can point and laugh at, or is it just one episode?
Yeah, all 13 episodes.
I tried to watch it, but I passed out from the pain.
Oh God!
What at Bill Nye? Bill Nye is a show again.
Bill
Nye saves the world.
You know, Bill Nye memes.
I actually loved Bill Nye the Science Guy as a kid. I watched it like all the time.
Ta-da.
Look, what you need to do is look at a picture of that Bill Nye, the one Luke's got. Look at it like your childhood sweetheart and realize he's never coming back.
It's like looking up an old girlfriend that's fat and disgusting and like with
she's
20
a meth
bastard kids now.
I can't look at that. I can't watch that video. I can watch the ice cream one and I can cringe heavily. It's like,
oh, by the way, those videos, like I guess when the official channel for the show or whatever were put up in like little segments, and they have some of the highest dislike ratios on YouTube. Yeah, like I think the one was at a 98.5% dislike ratio.
Oh yeah,
like a
I think one of the highest of all time was this Canadian comedy show, This Hour's 22 Minutes, did a song called Beige Power. About how like everyone on Earth will become beige and there's nothing they can do about it. It had like one of the highest numbers of dislikes of anything of all time.
I saw one where it was like some of these losers from MTV. They were doing some rap against the alt-right, and it was at about because it's such cringeworthy shit.
The beige storm. What is it?
Beige power.
Yeah.
Well, if you go by pure dislikeage, if that's a term now, it's like, yeah, we saw the Ghostbusters 2016 trailer, Hold My Beer. I've got Bill Nye talking about talking vaginas.
Oh, remember when Netflix had to change their rating system because of how much Amy Schumer's shit got downvoted?
It's like Amy Schumer is like, I got the worst thing that's ever going to be on Netflix. Nobody will top this. And Bill Nye was like, hold my beer.
Has anyone seen Black Science Man's TV show?
Has he got a TV show?
Yeah, he had Cosmos, the reboot.
It's relatively harmless. I mean, it's a little fedora, but...
I knew he had my bike, but I didn't know he had a TV show.
Black Science Man was like one of the best memes of all time.
We're reaching
people don't believe the universe be like it is, but it did.
There's more stolen bikes in my garage than there are stars in the galaxy.
I like the one where they took like Thomas Sowell, or sometimes it's Walter Williams, and it's like some people don't think the market be like it is, but it do. Black economist guy. The only difference is both of those guys are like 10 times as fucking smart as Neil deGrasse Tyson. Some people don't think the universe be like it is, but it do.
The funny thing is, and it's something that I was mentioning to...
if you go to space, you should be really careful. Sounded nice.
If you had a penny for every star in the sky, that would be a lot of pennies.
Okay, it's not a fedora, but I saw a quote from kind of the opposite end of that kind of spectrum, the Ken Ham guy, where he was talking about like light years are a measure of distance, not time. So just because a star is millions of light years away doesn't mean the light took millions of years to get here.
No, I've heard young Earth creationists argue that God created the light in like mid-flight.
Oh, so he tried to deceive you. I mean, it's a good thing I wasn't on the last stream. I would have blown a banana or whatever you call it.
Somebody asked me that, like, because I don't really want to like be mean. So someone's like, Arjun, how old do you think the world is? And I just like wasn't gonna answer. And then someone's like, he said repeatedly he thinks it's that he's like that young Earth creationism is retarded. And I'm like, well, that's
I kind of do. I'm sorry. And again, the light thing to me just sounds like you're filling the sky with lies. I mean, images of things, of events, and possibly even things that never happened or existed.
It's the equivalent of the fossil being put by Satan to deceive people.
Yeah, I'm not buying it.
Oh yeah, that was something Bill Nye said in his Big Think video. He goes, "America's the only country on Earth where people deny evolution."
Not really, but
I'm like, well, Muslims don't believe in evolution.
Yeah, they execute people.
He's like, America's the most advanced country on Earth, and America's the only country on Earth that denies evolution. And we need to get rid of religion because it's holding America back, because America's the most advanced country on Earth.
Well, maybe. Here's a theory, Bill. maybe if you weren't running around trying to convince everybody that evolution was inherently atheistic, maybe less people would be turned off by it. Because I think a lot of people think, wait, does believing in evolution make me one of those fedoras?
The funny thing is
whoever wins, we lose. It's like Alien versus Predator.
Well, the funny thing is, Neil deGrasse Tyson had a video about 5 years ago saying, let's say NASA, for example, if you're NASA, who do you want to be a politician at the time? They will say Republican, because those evil creator Republicans put more money into science funding than Democrats. Unless it's themselves stuff, Republicans will invest more into science than Democrats, because usually when it comes to Democrats, they're busy putting the money into fucking black holes.
By and large, Christianity has a much better record on science than it's ever given credit for. Yeah, I know that Ken Hams are kind of silly, okay? But I'm sorry, like all those early NASA guys, those were almost all believers. So many early scientists were believers. Were
the guy who came up with the Big Bang?
Wasn't he like a Roman or a Catholic priest or something?
Yeah, he was a Catholic priest.
I mean, most of these guys in the history of science in the Western world were at the very least deists. And then, what do the atheist scientists have to show for us? They have Black Science Man, and they have fucking Bill Nye the There's 107 Genders Man.
No, it was interesting because when the Big Bang first came up, a lot of atheists were really against it because the universe having a beginning implied a creator. And they wanted, like, if the universe was eternal, then that would have been easier. But yeah,
the point is all the way down.
Right.
Why do you Savage Dragon thing you keep bringing up, Luke?
And they should just double or triple the budget for NASA. It produces so much more compared to other shit the government blows money on.
Yeah, and Trump has increased the fund. I mean, in full fairness, NASA doesn't necessarily come up with all the equipment, but things like MRI, GPS, that's what NASA is basically famously, associated with. MRI scanners. I don't just mean it, but your whole ice cream fucking sort of add water and you've got all this food. NASA has got a lot of good equipment, and you could say whether it was invented by them or not, but a lot of the stuff was made for them at the very least.
Compared to any other government department, you get a hell of a bang for the buck. Yeah.
I would argue that not only do religious people tend to push science, but just even more broadly, right-wing people tend to, because they believe in things like, glory and, real advancement of mankind, not that bullshit progressivism. It's not Marxists and leftists generally that build skyscrapers and put men on the moon. Okay.
There's a book I'd recommend called The Ethical Case for Fossil Fuels. And in it, at the end, he asked a bunch of environmentalists about fusion power, and they were all against fusion power because they said it would allow civilization to continue indefinitely and it wouldn't punish humanity.
What?
So
that's retarded.
So many of these environmentalists are just
they're like humanity needs to be punished for what's done to the world, and
so they're actually Catholic.
Well, like the terrorists. Every time there's a terrorist, I think he's Lutheran, and then I'm shocked when he's Muslim.
Well, Westminster.
I usually think it's the Wiccans that are up to it.
Well, as I say, the last Westminster attack, the guy had a funny beard, weird headwear, and didn't know how to use technology. I say it was the Amish.
It was the Amish. You're damn right. They can't keep getting away with it.
Remember that guy the school shooter, who they called a white supremacist? It was like that random black guy.
Oh, Dylan. Oh, fair enough. Wrong guy.
And they said he had dark white skin.
Oh yeah. The thing is,
they literally wrote dark white skin.
Well, CNN has a habit of whiting up a lot of shooters. Say George Zimmerman, when it's not even a fucking shooting, they try and make him white, and they tried to do it with what was that case with the black guy in the truck, and he basically had a quote unquote rough ride and died. They basically try to white up 100% black guys. It's like that's impressive.
No, there was cops who shot one of the Dindus, and half of them were black, so they lighted the skin tone of the cops.
There was
yeah, they put like a torch on him. It's like, really?
when Mr. Matoker was doing his Easter stream and that Easter shooting happened, for a while CNN wasn't even showing the shooter's face, which, this was a fugitive at large. That was, that was in gross irresponsibility on CNN's part. They should have been plastering that face all over the place. But somebody had sent this to him, and he put it up there. And he's like, "Oh, I see CNN finally put up a picture of the shooter." And they had photoshopped the shooter to look white and have blue eyes and a blonde beard and a swastika carved in his forehead.
But the question is, did he have diversity fireworks in hand or not? Let's not forget that.
He said Allahu Akbar, but it was in a white Southern accent.
Oh no, some newspaper said one of these shooters said, "God is great." Just in the English translation.
Remember the guy who killed the random black grandpa?
Oh
yeah, that's what we were talking about.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Sorry, there's so many of them. I get.
It's almost like you
so many mass shootings, and it's all these evil right wingers too.
Yeah.
You know what was actually a really big red pill for me? How the media celebrated Christopher Dorner in his mass shooting. Like, I remember MSLSD said he's like Django, he's a superhero. I don't honestly like a lot of these guys I think are going to go to hell because they've actually I think are responsible for people's deaths because they're incite riots and they incite people to kill cops and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I think CNN is responsible for
Yeah, I think it was when I was on Jordan Owens' channel talking about my support for Trump, and he's talking about Trump disrespecting the media, and I'm like, look, Jordan, if the media was still the institution that it's supposed to be, then yeah, I would say that's inappropriate to treat the media that way, but they're not. Okay. I mean, you're a Gamergate survivor. You have to know this by now. They're not, okay? They deserve every bit of scorn and contempt.
I did a video on the news. Okay, so shortly after Trump got elected, he went to a private steak dinner with his family. And
I love that. I remember that.
And the article was, this is shaping to be the least transparent administration in American history.
Yeah, the media got butthurt. He didn't let him come to dinner.
Yeah.
We should be like a scored ex-girlfriend.
He and his little niece are plotting to conspire with Russia, obviously.
The other really funny one was how they said he was crazy for saying Obama wiretapped his headquarters, but there's the New York Times ran a story about that on the front page a month previously.
Yes. My favorite with that story was the Ben Shapiro's who said, "Oh, he wasn't literally wiretapped like it was Richard Nixon back in the days. He was done it in a certain way," and it's like he was still basically eavesdropped. That's essentially what's happened.
I had that exact argument with Owen when I was on his channel, and he's like, "Well, the wiretapping," and I'm like, "Dude, yeah, the wiretapping was technically false. Yeah. It's an expression. You say wiretapping the same way,
it's a method.
When I think of wiretapping, I think of any
this isn't the days of Sean Connery, James Bond. All right, he wasn't literally wiretapped.
It's not like that scene in From Russia with Love where he's searching his hotel room for bugs.
It's basically eavesdropping, and there's various methods: emails, SMS, text, Skype, everything. And
when you are under surveillance, people use the phrase wiretap. It isn't a literal phrase.
Oh yeah.
I mean, didn't they I'm suggesting someone's actually outside, splicing into a fucking wire.
Didn't they do a similar thing when they tried to fact check? Was it the second or third Trump-Hillary debate where it's he said, "Oh, Trump claimed that Hillary bleached her servers." Well, she didn't literally bleach it. She used a server called Bleach, and it's do you not get this?
I got literally triggered the one time that somebody asked Hillary, "Did you wipe your server?" And she said, "What, with a cloth?" I would have come fucking unhinged if I was that reporter. I'd have been like, you are not that stupid I am not that stupid. My listeners are not that stupid.
Hillary's not stupid.
Damn well what I
she's a
meant.
sociopath, but she's
That's
not
what I'm saying.
stupid.
They are the high school bully. They're not trying to win an argument. They are trying to win an argument, not be right about the argument. That's why instead of arguing it, you either ignore it or you just punch them square in the face. There's no direct path with them. You don't argue what they try and do.
No, you can't deal with them. They are.
I think the
completely
best
dishonest.
example of that is how Scalia would occasionally vote with the left wing of the Supreme Court because he was just trying to do what he thought the Constitution said. So he would sometimes vote on principle, and then whoever wrote the decision on the left would just like turn it into some bullshit. So,
and then they killed him.
I actually, I don't know. I think that's possible, to be perfectly honest.
Let me put it this way. I'm not going to say, oh, they definitely did this. The details of his death are very suspicious. And when you have a high-ranking government official who dies under the least bit of suspicion and you do not automatically have an autopsy, I don't give a fuck what the family's saying.
Out of nowhere.
Something's really, really wrong.
With no indication. I mean, like, I don't know.
I bet you they autopsied fucking Kennedy and nobody was confused about what killed him.
Yeah.
I mean,
it looks like this bullet in the head killed him.
I mean, it's like I am actually like the person who's like doesn't think anything is a conspiracy ever, but that was really fucking suspicious. Also, that guy who apparently leaked the DNC files who wound up dead.
Okay.
Yeah, that was
he was mugged by someone who didn't steal anything. That's not suspicious at all.
It's not suspicious if you drop the shower, the bar soap in the shower, and end up with 5 bullets to the head. It's not suspicious at all.
Oh, like Vince Foster.
Oh, dude, I was watching this thing on YouTube. Somebody had like this compilation of like Norm Macdonald's best Clinton jokes from SNL. And there was this one thing where he talked about Bill Clinton killing Vince Foster. And, there were some groans in the audience. And Norm just, like a boss, just played off. He goes, what? President's a murderer. You didn't know that? And then, like, he went on The View back in 2000. He was promoting some sitcom he was on. And he just starts talking about how Bill Clinton was a murderer. And, like, Barbara Walters starts freaking out. Like, because it was live.
I mean, I think like the fact that there is like a real possibility that a candidate for president had multiple people assassinated should be profoundly disturbing.
Oh yeah,
and that's
what I said in the. I did a couple of videos on the Scalia thing, and people were saying like, because there's the fucking pillow that was left on his face, because that's just how people nap. But people were like,
I'm being nice. I hate to disprove your theory. I napped with a pillow on my face. Don't judge me. I'm being serious.
Some people were saying like, if it was an assassin, why would they leave something? Because somebody was saying like, well, you can't. It's not easy to kill somebody with a pillow over the face. I said no, that's obviously a calling card if that's what it is. Well, why would they leave a calling card? And I said, gee, I don't know. Maybe because they thought, that they were untouchable. Okay. And maybe because apparently they are. Like, why didn't they even try to hide it? Why is it so suspicious? I don't know. Maybe they didn't think they had to because apparently they didn't.
I really hope that they try to canonize Scalia someday. And
you know what? I wish Trump was the monster the left makes him out to be.
I do too.
I really wish. Like I said, I joked about lobbing a missile at Berkeley and blaming North Korea, but fuck Trump. If you think you can get away with it, fucking do it. All right. In fact, like, you know what? Next time, like John McCain's giving you some shit, here's what you do: you call him into the Oval Office and you say, "John, have a seat. Have a seat. I know you got to go get going because you got to go vote on the bill I want passed, but here's a picture of your grandchildren, John. I was looking at this the other day and I was thinking, these are beautiful grandchildren and they may or may not have a bright future, but accidents happen. So I just want you to think about that, John, before you go vote on that bill. All right. You have a wonderful day.
John McCain's such a piece of shit.
Oh, yeah. Although, to be honest, with how Berkeley's going, you could say, I'm going to blame it on my itchy trigger finger. Don't judge me. And I don't think anyone would actually go after Trump.
That's
honestly, You know what? I hope tomorrow I hear Trump talking, in fake tears about, oh no, ISIS killed Rachel Maddow.
I remember when
it was totally not a SEAL team that I sent over there.
The funniest thing, the whole Kent State thing. The soldiers opened fire because someone in the crowd was shooting at them.
Oh, jeez.
Like someone pulled out a pistol and started shooting at them, and that's why they opened fire. But the left is just lies about it.
Oh yeah. As I say, high school bully mentality. It's not about being right. It's about them winning.
Yeah, and you know what you do with a high school bully? You punch him right in the fucking mouth.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I love? Did you guys see the Pepsi challenge? The Berkeley Pepsi challenge.
Oh,
it was amazing.
My favorite one was the Sonic Twitter with their version of it, and it's like Sonic Twitter seems to be always on point, and they had Sonic giving a can of Pepsi to the final boss of one of those Sonic games and it cheering up, and the comment caption was, "Who the funk it actually worked."
Oh man, I don't know who's in charge of some of these Twitter accounts, but God bless them, like the Wendy's Twitter.
Oh yeah, that whole week was a whole blunder. You had United Airlines, you had Twitter, you had Pepsi, you had was it Sean Spicer? Oh, at least Hitler didn't use gas.
Dude, you know what I would have done if I was one of the other airlines? I would have photoshopped like Darth Vader in the middle of
Yes, what happened with that? I actually never heard.
Just I have altered the terms of the deal.
Oh, I think my favorite tweet for the United was waiting for United to start overbooking infant-only flights and employing terrorists to blow them up mid-flight. They're on a roll here.
It's just Photoshop United and then the slogan under it, we have altered the terms of the deal. Pray we do not alter it.
That's brilliant. Here's the thing, 2 days after that, one of their United Airlines to Calgary got stung by a scorpion on one of their flights. I shit you not. And it's like, are they trying? Is this like a Delta Airways sort of trying to get back at them for something? I don't. I mean,
sorry.
Yeah,
if I am anywhere that I'm getting stung by a scorpion, somebody's getting fucking sued.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it fell out of someone's actual overhead luggage.
How do you? I mean, I'm not allowed to bring shampoo, but somebody's allowed to bring a scorpion.
I honestly I hate flying out of American airports.
Don't.
I just hate airports in general. I always feel like I'm about to get shot when I go into one.
I've only flown a couple of times, and I hate it.
And no one feels safer around the security.
Yeah, I feel like at any moment the security's just gonna snap and start shooting us all.
I know.
I'd rather just deal with fucking Ahmed and his fucking basket full of cobras.
I love the shoe bomber. How the passengers beat the shit out of him, and they tied him up and they inject. I think they injected him with some drugs or something.
Well, I mean, think of how many people just those people hijack planes with box cutters because people were just so trained to let the authorities handle it and all this bullshit. You know what I mean? Just fucking rush them. You know what I mean? What else did I want to talk about this week? Did we talk about Anita already? Did I bring that up? Anita Skumskeezian having her last episode?
Not yet.
Okay.
No.
All right. Well, before we get to that, let's go ahead and do the sponsors real quick. Sponsors this week are first of all, Reconnaissance Man by Aaron Clary. I would bring it up, but I'm afraid to open another window right now. But this is just it's sort of like halfway between Enjoy the Decline and Worthless. It's kind of a book that, if you're at a crossroads in your life, or maybe you're just graduating high school or something, it's a good book to help you really kind of take stock in your life and look at what you want and how to achieve it and that sort of thing. Really good book. As I've said numerous times on here, I have seen his book Worthless really change people's lives for the better. I knew a girl who was graduating high school a few years ago. I got that book in her hands, and where all her idiot friends were going off to Millersville University to get useless liberal arts degrees, she went to a mechanic school, and a few months later had a really good job with not a lot of debt. So yeah, check out that book. Available, and I think it's available in audio book, but I know it's Kindle and physical format.
And also,
the other sponsor is Race Ride Apparel, where you can get you some shitlord shirts. And the other thing to keep in mind is he is looking for new. He's got a lot more new stuff than he did. He's constantly expanding his inventory. And he's looking for, if you're an artist, he's looking for new submissions for designs. So I believe the email is racerideapparel@gmail.com. But I'm sure the contact information is on the website without me looking at it directly. Because again, I'm afraid to touch this computer before it explodes. My Wi-Fi is just so shitty tonight. I'm not gonna touch this thing while it's working fine. But yeah, check that out. If you're an artist, you want to submit a design. He'll split the money 60-40, 40 going your way. And also get you some great shirts there. Check them out. All right. And also down below you will see the tip jar where if you enjoy the show, it's technical difficulties and all, tips are greatly appreciated. That helps me keep doing what I'm doing. And some of those tips, I assure you, have recently gone towards a little upgrade for this laptop to hopefully make this problem go away. But yeah, tips of any size, greatly appreciate it. Even if it's just $1, greatly appreciate it. And it's
$1,
especially with my current situation. But yeah, so if you enjoy the show, that's greatly appreciated. All right, so enough sponsors and enough e-begging. Let's move on to. It's finally over, folks. Our national nightmare is finally over. Anita Sarkeesian has released the last episode of Tropes versus Women. It's funny. She had a tweet where she was like, believe it or not, the last episode of Tropes versus Women is out. It's like, even she doesn't believe that she finally got this shit done. Yeah. Even she's like, holy shit, 5 years and what, $500,000 to do this? And I'm just now getting it done. I didn't watch Tropes versus Women the last episode because life is short. Like one day I'm going to die. And I just hate to waste any more time watching her shit. I mean,
last time I tried, I cringed so hard I fell like back out of my chair and hit my head against something. So
yeah. Well, I was hoping maybe we can get the box set collection on the horror.
Oh, fuck you. Why did you put that up on the screen? I don't want to see that.
Oh. I thought she was going gray at first. I really did, because like
that actually makes me physically like I'm not even.
Oh, you gotta love them nice Sharpie eyebrows though. Yeah. Like I literally think she drew those on with a Sharpie.
The Eternal Armenian.
Always look like she's about to vomit.
Well, that makes two of us.
Is there always a mirror in front of her? Is that what the deal is?
Okay, I think for the next Mass Effect game, they should just make her the protagonist. That's what they should do.
Ugh.
You know what, Anita? If you will pose like the Happy Merchant meme, I will donate you $100.
The Eternal Armenian.
Oh God.
The Happy Armenian.
Don't start off chunky Hugo, please.
Actually, I take that back. I got to watch my money right now. Let me put it when I get myself another full-time job, that offer will stand.
A serious adult job.
Yeah, when I get once I'm back in the old workforce.
A serious adult job.
Well,
yeah,
seeing as you're
like that, Anita.
Well, seeing as you're past 1,000 subscribers, when are we going to get the nudes? I was actually subscribed for this only.
When are we going to get what?
The nudes.
The nudes?
Yep.
Oh, they're out there, but I never put my face in them.
I'm almost at 3,000. I'm at like 2,900 now. I don't know. I'll do something special when I reach 3,000.
Oh, Anita. Oh, Anita. You know what, though? All joking aside, on the off chance you should listen to this, Anita, on the very, very off chance, I would just like to personally thank you because you have done so much to push shit rightward in the last few years. I mean, like a lot of people want to credit Zoe Quinn for being sort of the Archduke Ferdinand of this culture war, but no, I think you really helped push a lot of people rightward. You really helped. You red-pilled a lot of motherfuckers out there that there's just no talking to you people.
Well, talking about Anita Sarkeesian, and we were talking about Ultra Fedoras. Was it Macintosh, our lovely friend on Twitter who doesn't make any mistakes? When Osama bin Laden died, he's like, I don't speak ill of the dead. When Christopher Hitchens died because of his stance on feminism, it's like, good riddance.
Oh yeah, what a shithead that guy is. He actually did his own video series, which no one watched because the pussy pass didn't apply to him. Even though he is a giant pussy, he doesn't have a pussy. So, but he did this one video where he was talking about like all these guys that like are promoting toxic masculinity, and it was basically a bunch of fedoras who were like anti-feminists. Like it was like fucking anal atheist, and I don't know.
Is there anything labor than anti-feminists? Like
at this point, yeah. But it was like anal atheist and like Cult of Dusty and a couple other guys. And I just remember screen capping that, and I'm like, it's the great scientific question: what happens when unstoppable fedoraism meets immovable cuckoldry? Like what finally gives? And we may never know. We may never know.
Is med-resistant AIDS involved?
Everyone's covered in slime.
That's what happens. That's how you get med-resistant AIDS. All right. Well, we got a little bit more time. I'm going to go ahead and open things up to some callers. So if you want to call in, go ahead and message me on the Skypes there at the Bechtloff or the Bechtloff or however the hell Skypes work. I'll go ahead and bring in our first caller, who just messaged me just now. All right, Zachary something or another messaged me. All right, we'll bring them in, do a couple callers, and then we'll wrap this up. And I cannot wait to go to bed.
I was going to add as a side point, talking about comics. Me and my dad were going through some of the old comic book shops, and I've never seen someone's face twist in a horrible angle when he realized the Star Trek section of the store was converted to the anime and manga section of the store.
Oh, like those damn goop tunes. I actually was digging through a dollar bin at the Comic-Con today because I'm a unemployed loser, so that's why I got to read comics. And it's mostly just it's typical superhero stuff, but it's just beat up shape, so that's why it's all $1. And do not call me on Skype. Message me on Skype, and I will bring you on the show. Okay, I get people calling me on Skype. Anyways, I dug this thing out of there. Luke, maybe you could bring up a picture real quick. It was the Craftsman Bolt action something or another saves the Justice League. And it was basically like the Justice League's mechanic saves the day. And he's got like this, it's this like little thin ass comic book that's just this like giveaway ad that Sears was doing. But that
sounds kind of awesome, to be honest.
It was, I saw that and I was just like, I am sold. Only $1? That's going home with me. I haven't had a chance to read it, but some mechanic saves the Justice League.
I'd rather read that than like 90% of the shit they make these days.
So are we doing the subject thing, or are we just kind of going free?
Yeah. What's on your mind?
Okay, so yeah. By the way, that was fast. I wasn't expecting a response quick, but anyway, I haven't been watching, so I don't know how much of you guys has discussed. Do you want to either discuss Movie Bob Twitter on how nationalism will prevent space travel, or Joss Whedon having a
Oh my God! Yes, thank you for bringing
yes.
that up.
First one,
Holy,
please.
holy crap! Okay, so good old Bobo on Twitter had a tweet where he's talking about like we're never going to go out into space because we're rejecting globalism in favor of nationalism.
What I love about Movie Bob's tweets is not just that they're wrong, that there's different layers, like there's different levels. It's like
it's like unpeel. It's like taking apart an onion of fucking error. Like Bob, you realize that the whole reason man first went into space, that the whole reason we got to the moon so soon, and think of how soon we did that. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
A mere few decades after man first achieved flight, we were in orbit. And a mere few decades after that, a man stood on the fucking moon. All right? And the reason that happened, I mean, not the flight thing, but the space travel, is because two very powerful countries, two very powerful nations, were having a big old dick measuring contest.
Pretty much. And also I love how he talks about, oh, and China, you know, they're great goals. It's like, does no one tell him that China's one of the most nationalistic countries out there in like Asia, like with Japan and stuff?
Well, look, I mean, at the end of the day, what you need to always remember about Movie Bob, and this sums him up perfectly, is Movie Bob is a 35-year-old, friendless, diabetic, obese virgin. And those are all fucking facts. I'll argue that to the death. Who actually believes, despite all that he is the Ubermensch.
Well,
that is who Movie Bob is.
It's also funny. What was the other thing? Oh yeah, and of course, so nationalism, you know, bad science. So okay, so what is the great science of globalism has brought us? Hey, by the way, how's that Bill Nye show going out? How's that science show?
That's the science of globalism. It's the fucking 47 genders.
Mm.
There are more genders than there are stars in the sky.
Yeah.
Anything else on your mind?
Well, again, you can also maybe just throw in just two Twitter drums. There's also Joss Whedon continuing to have a meltdown and basically making fun of surviving cancer patients to score points against Trump, which is pretty pathetic.
Yeah, I think we talked about that earlier.
Okay.
Joss Whedon is bad and should feel bad, and all the bad things in life should happen to him.
Yes, I feel good he's not going to direct another Marvel film. That's what keeps me up in the morning.
I don't think he will. They haven't said anything, obviously, because I'm pretty sure due to contracts and want to stay good PR, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's some rocky, because he's not doing Infinity War. He's not directing Avengers 3, so I'm thinking there might be some. I think his career might be on the edge of being over, because yes, he's directing Batgirl, but if you've been looking at DC development, they've got like 20 films in production, like only a third of them actually have release dates, and all of them have had production trouble.
Yeah, that's something I learned a good 10 years ago when it comes to...
Yeah, so mark my words, I won't be surprised if a couple months down the line we see Joss Whedon leave Batgirl due to creative difference.
Yeah, let me put it this way. I learned this a good 10 years ago. Now, it's a little bit less true now than it was back then, but when it comes to a comic book movie supposedly in production, don't believe it till you've seen a teaser trailer.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, like they got something called Gotham Sirens in development. I'm not going to believe that's actually going to come out until I actually see a poster of it.
By the way, you know what's a really funny thing about comic book movies? This is true. I don't have the exact numbers and all, but Rob Liefeld, our good buddy Rob Liefeld, who I could spend 2 hours just dissecting his art right here with Luke bringing the shit up. But the creator of Youngblood, he has actually made a significant amount of money over the last 10 to 15 years selling Youngblood rights to various movie studios over the years. Because what I suspect happened, and this is a lot of speculation on my part, but supposedly there's been like 3 or 4 movie studios that have had the rights at various points and just never done anything. What I suspect happened is in this, this fever to get all these superhero movies out there, And nowadays, it's pretty hard to do. I mean, there's not a lot of properties for studios to buy up because obviously, Disney owns basically everything at Marvel. And the only thing they can't do is like the rights to Fantastic Four and X-Men are still with Fox. And I think Sony is still with Spider-Man, or Spider-Man's still with Sony, but Disney's kind of worked that out.
Studio
but the point is, those are never going to be up for grabs again. When Fox loses the rights to those things, they go back to Disney, period. Warner Brothers has the rights, full stop, to everything DC. So there's not a lot to grab up. So especially now, studios are trying to grab up any superhero thing they really can. But it doesn't leave a lot. So studios have tried to pick up Youngblood several times. And what I suspect happens is some executive is like, shit, man, we got to make a superhero movie. These things make fucking ass tons of money. All right. Oh, man, what was popular? Well, I heard there was this thing called Youngblood that sold like a goddamn 3 million copies or some shit back in the 90s. Oh, we got to get that. Who owns Youngblood? Oh, this guy named Rob Liefeld. Well, let's go write that motherfucker a check. And then they do that, and they walk away, and they hire some script writer and say, like, make a Youngblood movie, and this guy's, like, going through fucking Youngblood shit. Like, the fuck am I supposed to do with this?
Yabba dabba doom.
Yeah, and then eventually it just falls through. In short, basically, it's like, yay, a superhero movie property. Ew, I got some on me.
Yeah, Todd McFarlane's been trying to remake Spawn for years, but just
and of all the early Emmett shit, and this isn't saying much, Spawn is probably the best. I mean, compared to Youngblood or Wildcats or some shit like that, you could conceivably make a good Spawn movie.
Well, from
I
what
liked the Spawn movie. It was like epically retarded.
Oh, the visual effects in that are terrible.
My dad summed up the Spawn movie perfectly. Now, what you got to know about my dad is he loves superhero movies, but he doesn't know anything about comics. He loves superheroes as long as he's watching them. He doesn't want to fucking read comics at all. But if they're on TV or they're on the movies, he's all about it. He's like, yeah, this is great. So he sat down and watched Spawn one time. It was a few years ago, maybe like 2011 or something. And I asked him, I said, well, what'd you think of it? And he thought for a second and goes, it was like Ghost Rider if it was written by a 12-year-old.
From what I've heard,
like, you are dead on. That is exactly what Spawn is.
From what I've heard from people who read Spawn, apparently Spawn is great when Todd McFarlane's not writing it. When he gives the other writers, they can work some pretty cool stuff. But when it's him, it's like, yeah.
By the way, I've only ever seen the R-rated cut of Spawn because I never saw it in the theater.
There's not much they add.
From what I heard, the PG-13 version is actually far worse, and I that boggles my mind.
They really didn't add much. They just had a couple more scenes of him burning, and maybe like it wasn't much they added. I remember that being very superficial. So yeah.
Well, the cartoon was pretty fun though.
Oh, cartoon was great.
Oh, you could do a lot with Spawn. There's a good amount of potential in that character and that kind of premise, but
I've never seen it. Is Youngblood's really bad or something? Like I don't know anything about it.
Okay, well, here's the thing with Youngblood. Basically, it's a bunch of rip-off of other characters, which in and of itself isn't bad because sometimes that actually turns out to be really good stuff when characters are obvious. Let's be polite, say an homage to other characters.
Like Watchmen?
Yes, like Watchmen is a perfect example. Or over at Marvel, they have the Squadron Supreme, which is an homage to Justice League. The problem is, though, Rob Liefeld is a shitty artist, and he is a worse fucking writer. Yeah. Rob Liefeld was like fucking 20 or 21 when he made this stuff, and I mean, he had the fucking mind of a 10-year-old. It's like a 10-year-old with like severe ADHD wrote this fucking book. It's just like it drops fucking plots through midway through it and shit. I mean, it's honest to God. If you find
so much, then
if you find a copy of Youngblood #1, like the original, somewhere, and it's less than $3, pick it up because it's fascinating.
90s.
That's how bad it is. It's genuinely fascinating.
Why did it sell so many copies?
Because
of Liefeld's name.
Yes, because for whatever reason, Rob Liefeld was hot at the time. And the real reason it sold a lot of copies, and this was the great tragedy of early 90s comics, is there were a lot of motherfuckers out there who were buying comics not because they liked them, but because they believed they would be worth something someday. So a lot of people saw that a very, very big name had created a brand new original property, and it was a #1, and a lot of people bought it because they thought they were going to pay their college fund with it in 10 years.
Not realizing the reason why the previous comics were valuable was because no one was actually saving them.
Yeah, because, A, they were, readable, and B, there wasn't a lot of them left. That's actually what killed, or nearly killed, the comic book industry, is the speculator boom. Marvel and DC started following that because that's where the sales were, and they decided to stop being storytellers and try and become the Franklin Mint.
Well, SF Debris has it's long because it's broken into 17 parts, but SF Debris has a great series on the crash of the comic book industry. I highly recommend people look up. It's almost like a documentary where he just goes point by point every decision the entire industry made.
As for the Rob Liefeld himself, and Luke is bringing this up right now, there are 2 articles at this site, and I can't remember the site's name, but if you just Google them, they'll come up. The 40 worst Rob Liefeld drawings, and then the other 40 worst Rob Liefeld. There's 2 lists of 40 terrible Rob Liefeld drawings where they break down how awful.
What
is wrong with this?
Why do people like him?
I couldn't tell you. I mean,
is he so bad it's good?
I couldn't tell you. I don't know. I mean, nobody likes him now. And I'm baffled by how he keeps getting work in the industry. It's really weird because Rob Liefeld is the butt of the fucking joke in the comic book industry. It's so bad that when he's at conventions. At one point, he was at a convention, and somebody just walked up to the table and just handed him a copy of the book, How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way. Didn't say a word. Just handed it to him and walked away. And not only that, he's an asshole, all right? He fights with people all the time. He's late with his work. He frequently just drops off books partway through a story arc or something. He's terrible to work with. I do not, for the life of me, understand how he continues to work in the industry, especially a small, tight-knit industry like it is.
Did he make a lot? Has he made a lot of money though?
He has. I don't know if he made a lot of money. I don't know what he has now.
I hate to be the crudest person. Maybe he's very good at oral sex.
Maybe, I don't know.
That's
Here's the other
explanation
thing Rob Liefeld has, and I'm going to put this in giant fucking air quotes. Rob Liefeld co-created Deadpool.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's how we're going to explain this away. What happened was Rob Liefeld and writer Fabian Nessens, who is at best hit or miss, created this assassin character with no fucking personality in a book called New Mutants. This assassin character would bounce around a little bit, and then years later, other writers would actually add character to Deadpool and make him the thing people like. This is a perfect example. New Mutants 98 is the first appearance of Deadpool. However, Deadpool #1 from 1997 is the first appearance of basically everything you like about Deadpool. So that's the other way his claim to fame is he created Deadpool. Which, okay, look at this. Look at this. This is so, oh my God.
That was the Captain America.
Oh, God.
Look at the background.
Are those child fights?
Which, by the way, that comic might have actually killed a man. There's a myth to that.
First spectacular.
Yeah, it's fascinating. He may have sold his soul to the devil. That's how fucking bulletproof this talentless hack's career has been.
Not to mention he gets sued all the time as well.
Oh yeah, when he was at fucking Image. Oh my God, look at that.
Did he do Dooms 4?
Did he do what?
Dooms 4?
I don't think he did that.
This image is really creepy. So is that the point?
Pouches. so.
Oh, that's the other thing. I genuinely believe Rob Liefeld is a closet homosexual.
He can't draw women for shit either.
If there is only one part of the human anatomy Rob Liefeld has ever drawn remotely well, and that is the male ass. I'm not making that up. Luke, see if you could bring up from the other list of the 40 worst. There's a scene with the Human Torch and the Thing, right?
All right, let me see.
Oh my god, I don't know.
I remember someone did. I think it was like the top.
You've never
10.
seen a more well sculpted ass.
It was like the top 10 Alan Moore rape scenes. Because there's so many.
Oh my god, it's wow. Like, okay, like Bad Rock. This is a perfect. Oh, there it is. There it is. Oh my god. There it is. Look. Okay, so what has actually happened in this comic at this point is the Human Torch is possessed by some villain, and he attacks the Thing and like pushes him out of the window of the Baxter building, right? But what looks like it's happening is that the Human Torch is fucking Ben Grimm missionary style, and rubbing his nipples there.
What?
And then like, my god. Like, the man was paid money to do that. There's a scene from that exact book, too, with Franklin Richards, the son of Mr. Fantastic Invisible Woman. With it, and this guy had to delete it off the page. But the picture's still there. And the guy wrote under it, I swear to God, I think Rob traced this picture from child pornography. And he actually had to take that off.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure, he got threatened or something. But you look at the mouth, and yeah. He just might have. Holy shit.
So I don't know much about comics. Is everything Image does ship or?
It's
originally yes. Nowadays, not so much. Nowadays, Image publishes a lot of really interesting creator-owned books. The Walking Dead is there, which I'm not a big fan of, but I can at least respect. Invincible is another thing Robert Kirkman does that is some of the best superhero stuff you could ever possibly read. It's easily the best superhero stuff I've ever read that wasn't at Marvel or DC. Image has done a lot of good stuff in the last, I want to say maybe decade or so. But when you're talking about early 90s, like with the original Image lineup, Spawn is the best of the bunch.
Yeah, the problem with them is
in the 90s in general, I would say the best Image stuff was probably like Witchblade.
Yeah, since
by a wide margin, and it wasn't even that good.
Yeah, since Image is like basically more creator focused, as you can imagine. That.
Well, here's the problem with Image. Here's the biggest problem with Image. Let's go back to the founding of Image. Okay, so a bunch of artists were not happy with how they were treated at Marvel and DC, and they said, "Screw you guys! We'll go start our own comic book company with blackjack and hookers." So they went off. But here's the thing: you had Rob Liefeld, Jim Lee, Eric Larson, a couple other guys, but fucking artists. What are you missing there? You're missing the other half of the equation, aren't you? A fucking writer. You don't have any writers among them.
And none of them can write
what did you end up with? You end up with books that were, at best, a whole lot of flash and absolutely no substance. I mean, like, Wildcats have heard. Look, Jim Lee is a tremendously talented penciler. He is terrible at everything else. He is a terrible writer. He's even a terrible at costume design. But I mean, as long as he's drawing exactly what the writer tells him, like a good little pencil monkey, everybody's happy. But when he gets creative control, you get the New 52.
Superman armor.
Oh my! Look at these, man. The man was paid money to do that.
Well, I'm going to duck out, but thanks for having me on.
All right, yeah, thank you, man. Yeah, I could ramble on about fucking Rob Liefeld for 8
I should not have brought Liefeld up. Anyway.
Oh Jesus. It's even worse. Like, I have a buddy of mine who, the guy I originally did that comic stand with, and I mean, like, fucking a Rob Liefeld comic is like kryptonite to him. Like, I can like show it to him. He's almost ill. He's like, that man made money doing that.
Yeah. Like I said, his Captain America comic may have actually killed a man. Marvel's editor, Mark Griswold. Look that up. He read the comic, and a weekend later, he had a heart attack. So you're like, okay, he may have killed a man. So yeah, I'm going. Thanks for having me on. So
I was certainly. Yeah, it's wow, Rob. This is all bad, and you should feel bad. Look, can you close up on that?
I don't want to look at this anymore.
Can you close up on that one, that shrink comic? I want you to close up on that. I want you to, yeah, you know what I'm talking about too. A little bit more, down a little bit.
That's nightmare fuel. What the fuck?
What is that?
That's abnormal.
Here's the one thing for certain, Doc. You'll never hear the ladies complain about my shortcomings.
And that gentleman was not written by a 12-year-old. Oh, you know what else? Oh, why we're shitting on Rob Liefeld? You know what else? He has a statue of his character Bad Rock in his house. And I have seen pictures of it, and there is some manner of like cloth fucking loincloth or like thong over it. And I swear to God, I suspect that statue is anatomically correct. I swear to God, I think that statue has a dick because it's this big old statue with this completely out of place like cloth covering over it every time there's like a picture.
Which character?
Bad Rock. It's a statue of a character he created. I created this character. Original character, do not steal.
Was Bad Rock stolen from somebody else?
Bad Rock is basically, well, it's like The Thing if he was a kid. Oh, here it is.
Oh my
that is
God.
in his house. And every time you see it pictured, there's something covering the crotch.
Yeah, that's like a Sin City animation. It's like you can't not look at it.
It looks like it's about to rape him.
What the fuck? That's huge.
That's what she said.
That is the fucking.
No, that's what Rob said.
That might be the weirdest thing I've ever seen. He has it in his kitchen. It's like something DSP would do.
Is that Rob
He
to the left?
is the DSP of comics.
No, but like DSP had all those statues in his kitchen to the point where he could like cook. So
Yeah, but DSP poured grease down his toilet. This is another level.
Rob's gonna need that grease for later. That looks literally like someone like digitally edited that in. It looks like one of those things like people post. They're like Photoshop this pic.
I've seen other pictures of that statue in his house too, so I know that's a thing he owns. We've never seen the crotch, and we dare not.
So he's proud of this statue. His face looks like something out of a 2002 Newgrounds Flash animation. What?
That man is a millionaire. He was so popular in the early 90s. He had a Levi's commercial.
What?
Did he sell,
I shit you not.
Did he sell red ribbon sort of panty fucking Levi's?
No, he didn't. Yeah, surprised he didn't have a Victoria's Secret commercial, but no. He had a Levi's commercial. The Rob Liefeld Levi's commercial.
I can't look at this. He's got the Schindler's List of fucking statues. I can't stop looking at it. It's the red fucking dress.
How, like, did he pay someone to make that?
I guess.
Like, I can't see that being mass produced.
No. That's
who would buy
that's
that?
a one of a kind.
Yeah.
Who would pay money for that?
No, he had to pay gold teeth for that. I don't think the same person makes that.
Oh man. There was some like direct to video little like shorts that Marvel did in the 90s of like Stan Lee interviewing like current creators. And like he's interviewing Rob Liefeld and like Stan Lee just looks like he wants to die. He's just like, God damn it. Is this my legacy? The Rob Liefeld Levi's commercial. That's a thing you all now know exists.
Why is Rob Liefeld in the Levi's commercial?
Because he was just apparently that fucking popular for some reason.
But no one likes him.
15 minutes of fame.
I don't know what to tell you. All right. I
Look, Alien Free had a Pepsi advert. Just don't ask anything.
mean, don't get me wrong. Like, we're in weird times now. I mean, there's an artist on Squirrel Girl right now who draws everyone like they have Down syndrome. You know, that Marvel found off Tumblr. So it's not like.
Okay, you just mentioned Alien 3. That literally just ruined my day thinking about Alien 3.
Yeah, it had a legitimate Pepsi advert.
Oh my god.
Because they thought Alien 3 would be an uplifting, positive film.
Alien 3 is up there for one of the worst movies I've ever seen.
It's not that bad. It's just really depressing and bad.
It's boring as fuck.
Yeah, but that's Alien in general.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know how we hit this point.
I don't think I'm going to have time for other callers because I've spent so much time rambling on about Liefeld. But, I mean, it's...
Is he your Kojima? Your arch nemesis?
I don't know.
Oh my god, Luke's playing the advert.
They're hiding in a barrel to get away from an alien.
Liefeld World Order.
It's like Alien meets Scooby-Doo, the way they hide the barrel and stuff.
Liefeld World Order.
The fucking
oh my god! The Pepsi thing dates back further than we knew.
Oh my god! It's like it's like holy shit.
What do you wait? You said something I can't hear.
The choice of a new generation.
They say, I don't think he's from around here.
I love the 90s. The 90s had so much weird shit.
Oh yeah. That's
Oh man. I think I'm probably gonna wrap this up. Otherwise, I'm just gonna be here all night bitching about Rob Liefeld. I gotta get sleep. I am fucking womp. I know there's a few other callers that were waiting, but I'll hopefully get to you guys next week. I want to thank everybody for listening and thank you for bearing with me on my technical issues.
Andrew Rob Liefeld ran.
Yeah. I mean, you saw that. Like, it's just it's fascinating to me. I'm not even all that mad about Rob Liefeld because, like,
who cares?
It's more fascinating. Like, how does this keep happening? That's my response every time Rob Liefeld's on a book. I'm like, how does this keep happening? But anyways, if you enjoy the show, if you enjoy this goofy ass program of mine, check out the sponsors down below. Race Ride Apparel and
before we go, I was just in a message, Nightmare Fuel for next week.
Okay. Oh geez.
What? That's
one of those Matrix statues and all?
Yeah.
Oh god.
That's kind of I don't care for that at all. But yeah, if you enjoy the show, check out the sponsors, Race Ride Apparel and Aaron Clary's book, Reconnaissance Man. Also, if you enjoy the show, tips of any size are greatly appreciated, folks, particularly now. Yeah, that's all I got. Thank you to thanks to Luke, my remaining sidekick. And thanks to my wonderful guests. This was a pretty good show. I appreciate it.
Lots of fun being on.
That's all we got for tonight, folks. Bechtloff out.